talk to you the difference between liens and levies. So a lien arises when you owe the government money, and a statutory lien arises anytime you owe them. But the IRS doesn't necessarily record it anywhere or tell anyone that you owe the debt until they file a notice of federal tax lien. People are often confused when they get a notice of federal tax lien that means something's going to happen to their bank account or their wages, but that's actually when a levy is issued. So a levy and a lien are two different things, and they have different enforcement actions. So a lien is really just to secure an asset for the debt that you owe, and they're typically recorded against real property, for example, a house. And it's very unlikely that the IRS would foreclose on that lien to actually take possession of your home. It can happen, but it's in the most extreme cases. It really is kind of just a placeholder to prevent you from selling the home without paying the government, or refinancing, or taking some other action on the property without paying the government. Now, a levy is different, and a levy is what people are generally concerned about. A levy takes actual possession of your property, and a levy can come generally in two forms. The most common types are a wage levy or a wage garnishment. A garnishment is another synonymous word for a levy, and that's a reoccurring levy that happens on your paycheck. So if you're paid biweekly and the government issues a levy to your employer is legally obligated to keep holding that money for the government and turn it over every pay period. Now, a bank levy is a little bit different. I call this a one-time hit and grab. So if you have a levy on your bank account, let's say you have $5 in your bank account and you owe the government $20,000, and they issue a levy to your bank. They reach in and they can only get the $5 on the day that they issue the levy, because the levy is a one-time hit and it instantaneously attaches to the money that's in your account. So even though you owe $20,000, the government's only going to collect $5,000, unless they continue to do that process over and over again. But generally it's a one-time thing. So if I go to the bank a few days later and I deposit $10,000, that levy wouldn't attach to that money because it was put in after the levy took place. So there's really good news about levies, whether it's a bank levy or a wage garnishment, because a bank levy, just because it happens to you, the first thing that you're going to experience is a frozen bank account, right? The bank's going to put a hold on it and you're not going to be able to use it. But your bank doesn't actually send the money for 21 days. So you have 21 days to resolve your tax matter and get that money back. I've had a client one time that owed $90,000. And well, he had way more than $90,000, but he had $90,000 in the checking account. And we were able to work it out with the IRS that they gave us $89,000 back and only kept $1,000 from the levy, because we were able to work something out within that 21 days. So all is not lost. If something happens, you got time. And the same thing for a wage garnishment. If you lose one paycheck, we still have time to deal with the IRS and get them to release that wage levy so that you get your next check. So a good example of that one is I recently had a client that had been dealing with a wage garnishment for over 2 years. He was getting net zero checks from his employer and living off his retirement, and completely felt hopeless. He owed the government $800,000, and he just figured, well, I guess I'm never going to get a paycheck again. And he was getting ready to file bankruptcy, because that is one way to stop a levy. But we were able to deal with the IRS, see that he didn't actually owe the tax debt, correct his taxes, and release the levy within 24 hours of him coming to our office. And so he's going to end up getting a refund for all that money that was taken from him that he didn't actually owe. So the whole point of this presentation is really to tell you the difference, but also to let you know there's hope. It's fixable and you have time. So if you need help with a lien or a levy or a wage garnishment, feel free to reach out. I'm tax attorney Alyssa Whatley, and you can give me a call at 404-551-5838.